this video, you will see 3 such island horror stories that you will not believe your eyes. So before starting the video, give a like to the video and subscribe to the channel. So let's start the video. This incident happened about 4 years ago. At that time, I was 24 years old, and I was standing at a very strange turning point in my life. I did not have a stable job, and I was just surviving by doing small freelance work here and there. Then I received news that a distant uncle of mine, whom I had never even met, had passed away. In his will, he had left a small property in my name, a small private island located somewhere near the coast of Canada. It sounded like a dream, an island where no one else lived, where I could be the master of my own world. I packed all my belongings and set out for that place. To reach there, I had to rent a small boat. The boatman who was taking me there remained silent the entire way. When we got close to the island, he said only one thing: do not step outside after sunset, and if you hear any voice, do not respond. I ignored his words, thinking it was just the superstitious rambling of an old man. On the island, there was an old 2-story wooden house. The house looked very grand, but the heavy curtains on the windows and the thick iron hinges on the doors made it feel more like a prison. The first night was completely quiet. I was sleeping in a bedroom on the upper floor of the house. Around midnight, I suddenly woke up. It felt as if someone was walking in the room downstairs. I held my breath and tried to listen carefully. Thud, thud, thud. The footsteps were very heavy, as if someone wearing wet boots was walking across the wooden floor. My heart started beating faster. I tried to convince myself that it was just an old house, and maybe it was the sound of the wood shrinking. But then, the sound started moving toward the stairs. I got out of bed and quietly walked toward the door. Slowly, I tried to peek outside through the keyhole. The hallway outside was dark, but suddenly, a faint flashlight flickered. Someone was coming upstairs from below. The light was very dim and blue. That person stopped at the last step of the staircase. For nearly 5 minutes, there was complete silence. No movement, no sound of breathing. And then, from right behind the door, a voice spoke. It was heavy, as if dust had settled in someone's throat. It said, "My name, Arian. I know you are awake. Your uncle made a big mistake by sending you here." My body was covered in goosebumps. That person knew my name. He knew I was inside. With trembling hands, I grabbed the baseball bat lying beside me. Suddenly, the door handle began to turn slowly. Thankfully, I had locked the door from inside. When he failed to open it, he began banging on it violently. Bang, bang, bang. The entire room was shaking. I ran toward the window, thinking maybe I could jump from there. But the moment I pulled the curtain aside, my throat went dry. Outside, in the darkness, near the shore of the island, at least 10 to 12 people were standing with torches in their hands. All of them were staring directly at my window. They were completely still like statues. Suddenly, the banging on my door stopped. The person outside laughed and said, "You cannot go anywhere. This house is not yours. You belong to this house." The entire night, I sat with my back pressed against the door. From outside, I could hear scratching sounds and whispers. As soon as the first ray of sunlight appeared in the morning, everything went silent. Without looking back, I ran out of the house and straight toward the small boat I had tied at the shore. The strange part is, when I reached the mainland and spoke to my uncle's lawyer, he told me that my uncle never owned any island. The map and address he had given me belonged to an old mental asylum that had burned down to ashes many years ago. Even today, I keep wondering, then where was I that night? And who were those people who were waiting for me? This happened about 5 years ago. At that time, I was completing my PhD, and my subject was the effect of isolation on the human mind. For this research, I got the opportunity to travel to a very small and unnamed island, far from the coast of Brazil. The island had no official name, but the local fishermen called it Ilha da Silencio. The reason for going there was that the island had a strange phenomenon of acoustic silence. The wind would blow there, but its rustling could not be heard. The ocean waves would crash against the shore, but their echo was missing. I had to spend 10 days there alone. My supplies, a satellite phone, and a diary. That was my entire world. As soon as I reached the island, I felt a strange heaviness. The atmosphere there felt as if someone was pressing against your ears. There was an old gardener who lived there, an elderly Brazilian man named Antonio. He lived at the other end of the island in a small straw hut. When I met him for the first time, he did not say a single word to me. He simply closed his eyes and placed his finger on his lips, signaling me to remain silent. Until the fourth night, everything was scientifically interesting. I was writing in my diary about how living without sound could drive a person insane. Around 1:30 a.m., I was sitting outside my tent with a small fire burning. Suddenly, I heard a sound from my walkie-talkie. The other set of the walkie-talkie was with Antonio. I thought perhaps he needed some help. I picked up the receiver and said, "Antonio, is everything all right?" There was no response from the other side, only a heavy static sound. I asked again, "Antonio?" Then, a voice came from the walkie-talkie. It was not Antonio's voice, it was my own voice. The voice said, "Antonio, is everything all right?" My throat went dry. I thought maybe the signal was bouncing. I tried speaking again. "Who is there?" In the blink of an eye, the walkie-talkie repeated, "Who is there?" But this time, the tone was different. The voice was not mechanical. It was as if someone was standing right behind me, repeating my own words directly into my ear. I turned around, but there was only dense darkness and that strange silence. Terrified, I ran toward Antonio's hut. While running, I could not even hear the sound of my own footsteps. When I reached his hut, the door was open. Inside, Antonio was sitting on the floor, his hands and legs trembling, staring at the wall. As soon as he saw me, he pointed toward his axe with a shaking hand and whispered, "It has arrived. It has stolen my voice. Now it speaks like me, walks like me. If you make a sound, it will take everything from you too." Just then, a voice came from outside the hut. "Antonio, come outside, dinner is ready." The voice sounded exactly like Antonio. Perfectly accurate, the same rough and aged tone. But Antonio was sitting right in front of me. At that moment, I was so terrified that I slipped out from the back and ran toward my tent. I just wanted to grab my satellite phone and call for help. When I reached near my camp, I saw that a lantern was lit inside my tent. I slowly moved closer and slightly pulled down the zipper of the tent. My heart almost stopped beating. Inside, I was sitting there. It was my face, my clothes. It was writing something in my diary. Suddenly, it turned its neck 180 degrees and looked directly at me. Its eyes were completely black. No pupil, no white, nothing. Smiling exactly like me, in my own voice, it said, "Oh, you are back. I was just finishing the last page of your diary. It says that tonight you will become a part of this island." I ran from there frantically. I went straight toward the shore and pushed my small lifeboat into the water. While rowing away, I looked back. On the edge of the island, I was standing, and beside me stood Antonio. Both of them were waving goodbye to me. The next day, when a Coast Guard boat rescued me, I could not speak. The doctor said that due to shock, I had lost my voice. Weeks later, when my voice returned, it had changed. It did not feel like mine anymore. It feels as if I am speaking from someone else's throat. Even today, when I sleep at night, I feel as if somewhere far away on that island, I am still living there. And that one is the real me. And me, I am just a stolen voice. This incident happened about 7 years ago. At that time, I was working on a coral reef survey in a remote part of the Pacific Ocean. Our team had discovered an atoll, a coral island, that was not recorded on official maps. The place was so small that no ship ever went there. When we arrived, we found a massive concrete structure buried beneath the sand. It was a Japanese military bunker from the time of World War II. My teammates left me there to examine the soil and concrete samples, while they went underwater to conduct their survey. They said they would return in 3 hours. I was alone. There was a strange uneasiness on the island. Not even a single gust of wind was blowing. I pushed the heavy iron door of the bunker, which had been rusting for decades. It opened with a terrifying creak. The temperature inside was 10 degrees lower than the heat outside. The inner walls were covered with Japanese characters and some strange symbols. As I moved deeper, the beam of my flashlight fell upon a wooden table. On it sat an old reel-to-reel tape recorder. The surprising thing was that there was no dust on it. It looked as if someone cleaned it every day. Out of curiosity, I pressed the play button. For the first few seconds, there was only silence. Then a voice came through, a voice that made my entire body go numb. It was my father's voice. My father had died when I was only 12 years old. But in the recording, his voice sounded exactly as I remembered, deep and calm. He said, "Vishal, you are very late in reaching here. I have spent my second life waiting for you." It was impossible. My father had never been to Japan, and this bunker had been sealed since the 1940s. Then the recorder played my own voice. No, it was not an old recording. It was speaking about the present moment. The recorder in my voice said, "Right now you are turning around and looking at the drawer of the table, aren't you? Open it. Your childhood is kept inside." Slowly, I opened the drawer. Inside it was my Walkman, the same Walkman I had lost in my childhood. Along with it was an old photograph of me standing beside my father. But there was something different in the photo. My father's face was blurred, and my face was my current one, 27 years old. Just then, from the depths of the bunker, I heard the sound of someone walking. Drag, 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 as if someone were pulling a heavy chain. I stepped backward and tried to run out of the bunker. But as soon as I reached the main entrance, the door was gone. There was only a solid concrete wall. I was trapped. The recorder started playing again. This time the voice was different. It sounded like many people speaking together at once. They said, "On this island, time does not move straight. Whatever is lost here remains here forever. Now you are also a part of our memories." Suddenly, my shadow on the bunker wall began to move separately from me. I was standing still, but my shadow was acting out, strangling itself. That was when I realized that in the corner of the bunker, another person was standing. When I flashed my light there, it was me. But that me was very old. His hair was white and his eyes were swollen from crying. That old me picked up a diary and wrote something in it. Then he looked at me and said, "Only this, do not come next time." At that very moment, I felt a sharp jolt. Darkness covered my eyes. When I regained consciousness, I was lying on the sand at the edge of the island. My teammates were shaking me awake. They said they had gone only for 10 minutes, and they found me unconscious. I told them about the bunker, but when we went back to that place, there was no concrete structure. There was only flat sand. I returned home, but my life changed after that day. Whenever I look into the mirror, I do not see my own face. I see the face of that old man from the bunker. And the most terrifying part, in my closet at home, I found the same diary that the old me was holding inside the bunker. On its last page, in my own handwriting, it is written, "The 26th of February, 2026. Today, he told this story to someone."